I haven't kept it a secret that I don't care for the Emperor's return in the Rise of Skywalker. I didn't like it when it happened in Legends, and I don't like it now. And one of the frustrations I have with the idea of his return is what's to stop him from returning yet again? Are we doomed to live in an endless cycle of Sheev where he comes back to torment the galaxy every 30 years? I don't think there's any way to say it definitely won't happen, but I'm going to talk about why I think he's dead and gone for real this time based on some information in the Rise of Skywalker novelization. Actually, I'm going to just start with the movie and what we see. While the death of Palpatine in Return of the Jedi could have served as the final death of the Sith, I do think there's something to be said about Rey fighting her grandfather from Exegol. It might not be the birthplace of the Sith, but it's a literal seat of power. Not only does Palpatine have his face blown off, but the Sith throne itself and the surrounding cultists are all destroyed along with him. After Return of the Jedi, it's not like we needed to see Sith iconography come crumbling down to believe the Order was gone, but if you're going to bring him back, I do think showing Sith statues and thrones and so on being wiped away goes a long way in saying, okay, this time it's for real. But moving into the novel, we learn that Palpatine only survived being tossed down that shaft because Exegol and the Sith cultists were around. That's where his contingency plan was located, and it wasn't even fully ready. The clone host body decayed over those 3 decades, and he never fully regained his power. The cultists tried to create new clones that never worked, and for once, Palpatine's backup plans failed. I think Carson was doing her best to tell us that this was his last-ditch effort to keep his legacy going at the very least. There was nowhere else for him to go, so I don't think he could have done the old essence transfer after he electrocuted his own face off again. So, okay, that's enough for me to accept that he is likely gone for good, but what about his ideals? As much as I love The Force Awakens, I think there were some missteps that had ripple effects down through the rest of the sequel trilogy, and one of them was bringing back the Empire. Sure, you can call it the First Order, but it's the Empire. I've come around to accepting that it's a pretty good message to say just because you beat the bad guys once doesn't mean what they stand for is dead. The New Republic grew complacent and allowed their enemies to return. I can get behind that. So just like I'm asking with Palpatine, what's to stop the Empire or something identical to it from rising a third time? Poe has that exact same worry in the book and finishers him that it's unlikely. The Battle of Endor was a great victory, but it was an all-or-nothing attack made by a relatively small group of people. The galaxy didn't completely rise up to save itself, they just crossed their fingers and hoped for the best. At the Battle of Exegol, the galaxy seems to have learned its lesson. Fleets joined the fight from all over, and not only at Exegol, but they rose up on all the occupied planets. The citizens of the galaxy aren't just along for the ride at this point in the story, they're actively participating, and it's hinted that they'll probably help organize whatever government comes next rather than just sit back and accept a new Republic or something. This feels like it could be kind of an "and they all lived happily ever after" moment for the Star Wars galaxy. I imagine at some point down the line we'll get some stories set in the future. Hopefully Palpatine and the Empire stay gone and we can explore some new ideas, but for now I think we can accept this as ushering in an era of peace for a good long while. And it's probably going to be a while before we find out what happens in the future. It sounds like we're headed into the past for a bit with the High Republic. But what do you guys think? Could Palpatine ever return down the line? Would you even want to see that? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.